Hey Bashir, so essentially if you were to get, this is the other video I'm just going to make, so dental system. So this is a 3Shape lab software. So what you're going to be doing is you're going to be scanning on the Trios and sending it to your lab software. So the lab software looks like this. So you're going to receive the scan in your 3Shape communicate inbox. You're going to accept it. So let's say if you click on your scan, so because you're a lab, you're going to be sending like how you're sending to a lab. So you'd accept the scan here, and then it will come into your orders, and then within your orders, then you can come into this next step, and you can go right click and design. So this is one that's been scanned on a Trios, but this gives you an idea of the workflow here. So accept. So within this software, there's a lot more tools. Never mind about my yearly subscription running out. So first step is to obviously set it in to set the occlusal plane, right? So that's fine. I might maybe bring that way and that down. So that's about our occlusal plane there. Next, trim. So it's going to ask you to trim the jaw. It's going to ask you to trim the upper, which these were already trimmed, but this is why it's important to trim your scanning. You scan when you're doing that. Then you can edit the actual the scan. So that's one feature that obviously you can't do on the Trios software. So let's say if you want to look at the scan like here, and you can go, okay, I want to smooth off that area because that's just a bad part of the scan. Likewise down here, if I wanted to smooth off an area, you can if you wanted to, you know. So these are the features that the lab software has that the design software doesn't for the Trios. So you can, you know, sculpt the upper as well, and then margin line. So it's going to ask you to draw the margin line. So there's several different tabs. So whereas in the Trios software, you just click on the margin line, whereas there are several different choices. Now this margin line isn't as clear as what the other one is. So you can either click on top. So let's just delete that. So this is one option. So you can click. Sorry about my kids. So clicking on top, and it's going to try and self-diagnose a margin. This next tool here, you can click on the margin, and it's going to try and figure out. Sorry, I got to delete it again. This next one here, you can see. Click on the margin. So click on the margin. It's going to try and figure out the margin from clicking on the margin. So there's several different tools. You know, depending on your prep, there's several different ways to try and figure out the margin. So you can see that it isn't on this one. It's not perfect because obviously. So this is a really quick way to kind of do the margin within the lab software. So this isn't the be all and the end all. You can bring your color in and out, so you can see that the margin's actually down here. Yep. But you can essentially go around and you can do little edits here and there on the margin. So you can see within the lab software there's a few extra bits and pieces. Now this is going to separate the die. So because once again this is lab software, it's allowing you to be able to create a die. You know, so you could, if you wanted to print out the model with a die separately. And then here's the margin step now. So within this margin step, you can use some advanced tools. So you can use a step tool. So this step tool here allows you to individually use a slice tool to see where your margin's sitting on every single part of the crown. So you can go around the whole crown and you can do some quick adjustments on the margin. So if you saw this and you wanted to bring it down, you can use the buttons to bring it down. So these are the kind of editing tools that you can get within the lab software. So you can be a little bit more refined. Die interface. Once again, the die interface, you can remove. There are all these particular. You can really adjust all these settings all through here. So once again, most of the time you have like preset settings and you don't touch them. But I just wanted to let you know, all these are all the extra bits and pieces that you get within the lab software. So produces our cement spacer, and then the next step is it's going to choose a crown. So you can choose different libraries by the Smile Composer, like what you can in the design software for the Treos, and then you can then start adjusting your tooth, and you can essentially move this all around, make sure all your contacts are correct, so you can adjust it. You can check it in occlusion. So let's bring in the upper. So you can see there are areas there that are a little bit, let's bring that and that halved. So let's say you can see if you wanted to, you can use a tweezer tool and you can grab areas and bring them down. Grab areas and you can bring them down. So depending on what view you're looking at, it's going to depend on what kind of morphing and how, what angle that you bring them down on. So you can see here, if you want to bring things out, you can. You can use shift and bring both of these out together. If you want to bring out certain parts of the crown, you can. So there's all these editing tools here, so you can really push your boundaries in terms of the way that you want the tooth to look, you know. So there's all of those editing tools. You can rotate it around. So this tool is the same tool essentially that you get within the Treos software, this main one, but then obviously you get a lot of these other tools that are a little bit more refined and you can play around with it a little bit more. So there's your wax knives, which you get this also within the other software, and then there's an articulator, which is you also get this in the other software as well. So, but you've got other, as I mentioned, there's more refined tools, and there's copy and mirror, there's reconnect to margin. So if I were to, let's say, I'll just use this tool and I'll just bring this out a little bit because obviously that's a bit too thin through there. And then if I were to eliminate all this, let's take away the articulator and use the slice tool. So within the margin, you see there's a little space, but it's actually, this prep's different to the other one, so it's a bit harder to tell. I'll try and find an area of the, so you just do tend to find that the marginal fit on this one is going to be slightly better than the 3Shape software. But this is what, you know, this software is what most probably 90% of the labs around the world use. So, so next, lets you know if it's too thin in any areas, so it will adjust that. The design software for the 3Shape Design Studio obviously does that too. And then you're going to hit close. So because this doesn't integrate into the mill per se, you're going to have to go advanced, generate cam. So that's going to generate that tooth design that we just did. You're then going to go advanced explore cam. This is a crown we just designed. So if I were to go copy, and if I were to put this into, let's just put it on my C drive. It's PC, C, let's just call it within VHF, STL crown, paste, so that's that one. So if I were to open up the VHF software now, so because we have to bring it in individually, so we're going to have to use this dental cam part of the VHF software. So you're going to go Emac, hold on, where am I? Come back. Sorry, it's because I got the screen recorder on. Dental cam. Let's go back into dental cam. There's CNC. I was trying to calculate a job, that's why. This one that I just brought in before. So it did actually send through. Do you want to delete the job? Yes. So now let's open up. So here we go. So let's say if you want to create a block, Emacs, you choose your block size. Now this is, what software? No, I have got, let's go, say Vita Dynamic dimension. So you can choose your block size there, height, whatever, and then you go add. So you're adding it in, and then you can add it into the next step. So we're going to follow this path up here. So we're going to go into where I drop that in VHF, STL crown, and it was just Tech 1 here. So this is a crown I just created. So we're going to click it over and then click it into the milling software. So you can see there's more steps with the lab software. You can then start to add in your sprues and whatnot. So after we move it in here, obviously you can on here, you can move the tooth around and whatnot, and now we're starting to add in our sprue. So if you didn't want that sprue and you want to make a smaller one, you can reduce the size here. The 3Shape software doesn't really allow you to reduce the size. It's a little bit more straightforward. It doesn't allow you to edit it as much. So but after you've put the tooth in there, then you're going to send it to the CNC software, which then allows you to come to CNC, open up the job and mill it from there. So the Trios software obviously does the dental cam side within the 3Shape software, and it's automatically sending it to CNC. If you were to get the lab software, you get a slightly better refined crown, but you've got to go through that workflow that I just took you through. And then obviously you go to the crown that we've just sent, and then you hit play, and then it's going to start milling out. I hope this video, makes sense, and I hope it allows you to make a good decision. That's most probably within a 10-minute window. That's the best way that I can explain both softwares. As I mentioned, going through the both, you can see why I'd most probably be more inclined to say the Trios design software is a little bit better. So, well, it's more ideal for someone that doesn't want to spend as much time doing jobs. So, all good. Thanks. Catch you then.